wrong.
And I'm Graciela Moreno. Emergency crews are responding to Castle Airport in Merced right now, where a plane is having problems with its landing gear.
Reporter Katie Hammer, is live at the airport with the late-breaking details. Katie?
It's a very tense situation right now out here at Castle Airport. Right now, there is a student pilot and an instructor up in the air in a small plane, a Piper Arrow. They are circling the airport as they have been for the last 2 hours. Just in the last couple of minutes, they attempted to go down the runway and bounce the plane up and down the runway to try to knock down the right landing gear that is stuck. At this moment, the front landing gear and the landing gear over under the left wing is down, but the right landing gear is what they're trying to get down. Student pilots train here at Castle Airport. They have had some problems in the past, but this is the first time it's ever gotten this far. The student pilot and the instructor have been up in the air for about the last 2 hours now. They are communicating with people up in the tower here. That tower was just activated last month, so it's good news that they're trying to help each other work through the situations. From what we understand, they are going to attempt to bounce down the runway here one more time. As you can see right behind me, that's what they're doing right now. They're trying to knock that right landing gear down. If that doesn't work, from what we understand, they will pull all the landing gear up and try to land on the belly of this airplane. Of course, we'll bring you updates to see exactly what happens with this plane. We're live at Castle Airport. Katie Hammer, ABC 30 Action News.
And again, as Katie said, we will keep you updated throughout the newscast as we watch this airplane. As Katie said, it was a Piper Arrow, I believe is what she said. Again, a student pilot inside and the instructor inside the airplane. They've been circling the airport for about 2 hours now. Again, trying to get that landing gear to come down. And I don't know if we've ever seen something quite like this, where they're trying to bounce it on the landing strip, trying to get the other landing gear to come down, and then they can safely make that landing. But it's got to be a frightening situation to be in that plane. The instructor, however, maybe he's been through this situation before and knows what he's doing up there.
Most definitely. Katie also said that after they make those attempts, I believe a few more times, they will try to land this plane on its belly. So let's hope that that happens eventually. And, of course, we will go back to Katie Hammer as soon as we have more information on this plane.
We've seen these kind of situations in the past where the plane, a small plane like this, has landing gear stuck, and they've had a really difficult time trying to get down. But we've also seen so many times where a plane like this has landed safely. The pilot, the instructor, whoever may be inside, knows what they're doing and can safely bring that plane down on its belly. Of course, as Katie also showed us, there are emergency vehicles there, emergency personnel. They probably have that runway ready to go. They are there at the drop of a hat to help out if there is any problem. Again, we're looking at those fire trucks that are on the scene right now at Castle Airport in Merced, ready to go if there is a major problem. But again, the situation, a student pilot and his instructor, or his or her instructor, we're not sure the gender of the people in the airplane at this time. They've been circling this airport for 2 hours, waiting for that landing gear to try and come down, trying to burn off some fuel. And they see the right landing gear is what is stuck on that plane. And again, what they're doing is trying to just come down, tap it on the runway gently, and try and get the other landing gear that is stuck to deploy, and then hopefully they can make a safe landing after that. We're still watching this live picture coming in from Castle Airport in Atwater. Reporter on the scene is Katie Hammer. She's our North Valley Bureau Chief. We understand she's having a little bit of a communication problem. We hope to get back to her shortly to find out what is happening there right now. Again, the airplane is a Piper. Those of you who know what a Piper is, you're maybe familiar with this airplane and know what it can do, what it's capable of. And again, we have emergency vehicles on the scene right now.
We do now. Katie said, as Warren explained, obviously we're hoping for the best in this situation, but it is a tense situation out there with lots of folks from the airport out there trying, obviously, to help the pilot of this plane land the plane in as safely a manner as possible. But I would imagine also possibly some family members out there of the pilot, of the student pilot who was, as far as we know, was commanding the plane. Again, this is a Piper who has its right landing gear stuck. They are trying to bounce the plane so that it lands softly and safely, and that's why they are circling around in the airport. And Katie told us just a few minutes ago that they will attempt to be doing that once or twice again, but then if that does not work, then they will try to very gently land that plane on its belly.
Let's go back out to our reporter on the scene. That's North Valley Bureau Chief Katie Hammer with an update as to what's happening there. Katie?
Well, Warren and Grass Valley, right now, we understand the plane, the other two landing gears that are down, the one on the left wing and the one in the front of the plane, is not going up now. Originally, they had planned to pull those up so they can land on the belly of this plane. But right now, those two sides are not coming up, so they're going to try to attempt to land this plane with just two sides down. And, of course, we're waiting to see tensely what happens out here.
Katie, are you still with us?
Yeah, I can hear you,
Okay.
Warren.
All right. What do we know about the people in the aircraft at this time? You've been told what? There's just two in the aircraft?
Yeah, this is, from what I understand, this is a four-seater plane, but there's only two people inside the aircraft. One is an instructor and one is a student pilot.
Who is out there waiting? Do we know if there's family members out there?
You know, there's several members of the flight school out here watching tensely as they watch their colleague and their instructor in the air, and there's emergency crews all over the runway here.
I would imagine, Katie, the folks who are there, the emergency personnel, are veterans of this sort of thing. Of course, Castle Airport is the former Castle Air Force Base in Merced County. They still do operate an airport there in Atwater. They look like they're ready to go. Any idea how many emergency personnel are on the scene right now?
I can't tell exactly, but it seems like there's 3 or 4 fire trucks. I know the ambulance is out here, and I know the Merced County Sheriff's Department has some deputies out here. They're all standing by. They were staging a little bit further back earlier, but now that this plane has decided to try to come down and land, they have moved out onto the runway.
Katie, you said earlier that they are going to try to bounce the plane and have it knock down that landing gear that is stuck, and then you said that later they would try to land it on its belly. Did they tell you at what point they're going to be trying to do that, or how much longer they will be circling?
You know, Graciela, I'm seeing all these emergency crews move now to one location. It looks like this plane is down at this moment. We don't know the condition of it. All the emergency crews, as you can see, are moving. It looks like the plane is down, but at this time I don't have an update as to if it landed safely or if anyone is injured.
Well, for the time being, we'll watch these trucks on the move, trying to get to that location to where the aircraft may have landed now. Did you hear any noise or anything like that, Katie?
I didn't hear anything, but let me see if I can get an update from somebody.
Sure, go right ahead. In the meantime, you're watching late-breaking news here on ABC 30 Action News. We know that a small plane has been circling the Castle Airport for some 2 hours now. And the problem is a stuck landing gear. The right landing gear is stuck, will not come down. They've been circling the airport doing, I guess you could call it touch and goes, but they've been trying to just bounce that aircraft lightly on the airport runway, trying to get the other landing gear to come down so they could make a safe landing. Let's hope that's the situation here, that they were finally able to get that other landing gear to come down. They were able to make their landing. But by the looks of the movement by all of the emergency personnel on the scene at Castle Airport Base right now, that may not be the case. Again, Katie Hammer is on the scene, and hopefully we'll get some more information here to you shortly.
Katie just told us a moment ago that she did not hear any loud noises, so hopefully that it means that it landed softly and safely. You also mentioned that a lot of very nervous folks down there waiting to see what's happened. Have you seen them also move towards the area where the emergency crews are headed, Katie?
Well, Graciela, I have good news to report. This plane has landed safely. As you can see behind me, there is no fire. Apparently, the two people inside the plane, the instructor and that student pilot, are all safe. Of course, the emergency crews are going out there right now just to check on them. That emergency landing gear did not come down, but it appears everything went okay here.
Well, that's good news. As far as we know, everybody is safe. They're down. They're okay then, huh, Katie?
That's what it sounds like right now.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Katie. And, of course, we will be going back to Katie Hammer live at the scene of this emergency landing of a plane that was being piloted by a student pilot and who was flying with his instructor out at Castle Airport, and that has landed, as far as we know, has landed safely with no injuries to either passengers.
All right, hopefully when they come back into the airport, back into the area there, we can find out a little bit more about how they're doing and what the situation was.